Hi, this is Ramaji. I want to talk about Ananda Devi's new book, Intimacy with the Infinite, the Truth about Life After Awakening. Now, I'm obviously not objective about this book because I'm the life partner and twin flame with Ananda Devi, but I'm going to do my best. And let me tell you, honestly, from my heart, this is the best spiritual autobiography I've ever read. Now, I used to be a fan of my favorite spiritual autobiography before was the one by Bernadette Roberts called Journey to Know Self. I think that's the title. And it's brilliant, and it makes some really good points spiritually. So it's not just autobiographical, but it makes brilliant points along the way. Well, that's exactly what Ananda's book does, except that the level of drama, the extremes, it would make a really great movie. And interspersed with the autobiographical story, which is about her awakening and the impact of her awakening on her life and her family, are these brilliant insights that, quite frankly, I couldn't have come up with. I've never heard from anybody else, at least not in that way. Let me just show you real quick. So that's the book, and we would love for you to buy it and read it, and then make a review on Amazon. But for example, here's one of the insights. So you can see it's got a butterfly, and so each autobiographical chapter, which quite frankly is very intense. They're very intense. They're very emotional. They're very naked. They're powerful. It reads like a novel, only it's real life. Those dramatic chapters, autobiographical chapters, have these non-dual enlightenment insight gems interspersed between them. So it's a brilliant organization, and I've never seen it in any other book, to be honest. Now, they're all good, but I had my favorites. I like the one about presence. The insight about presence, the way she talks about it is, to me, the best I've ever heard. It really helped me understand some things, and also how I can talk to students about presence. Her description of the void. Very few talk about it, yet it's key and essential to everything having to do with non-duality and enlightenment. And she explains it from her own experience and in a very unique and powerful way. And then finally, the purge, which has to do with what's required for us to face our shadow, deal with our negative emotions, and essentially be authentic and real and honest as human beings, especially post-awakening. So the thing to understand about Ananda that makes her different from almost any other non-duality teacher or spiritual teacher or enlightenment teacher on the planet nowadays at this time is that her awakening was spontaneous. She didn't have a teacher. She's a teacherless teacher. And there are two people that come to mind who are also teacherless teachers and very original, extremely original, because they don't represent a tradition, they don't represent a teacher, they don't represent a way of training. So that's Stephen Jourdain, who has passed away, and Carl Renz. Carl Renz is radical and amazing, okay, and brilliant. Well, so is Ananda Devi, because she's absolutely fresh and original, a true individual. So she's a truly unique voice in this non-duality world. And you read it and you know she didn't get this from anywhere else. You can read so many other non-duality books, and you know what? It sounds like you're hearing the same thing, only slightly changed. Not true of her book. It's fresh, original, and it's because she's an Enneagram 8 and she has a natural Zen approach. It's just pow, pow, pow. But it's loving and compassionate because she's writing this book, as she has told me, to help overcome the indifference in the world. you know, not just a lack of love. You know, it's not like everybody, oh, we wish everybody was just radiating love all the time. No, the actual concrete indifference that people have for each other, you know, in the world. That is why she wrote this book, or that's one of the reasons. Now, this book has many audiences. I mean, it could read like a novel, so somebody could read it for the autobiography. You know, I mean, she was raised in a wealthy family. She gave up her inheritance as part of her integrity, and we're talking millions of dollars. She's got 3 teenagers. Okay, she went through a divorce that was from hell. And I'm not going to say anything else because it's all in the book. But it's an amazing journey by a person who, once they awakened, realized there is no way I can be phony about anything with anybody. And then here are the consequences, as she describes. And anybody who's awakened will have the same experience in some form, that people who are not in alignment with you, because now your consciousness is at a higher level, they fall away. They simply fall away. They simply cannot abide with you. They cannot stay with your frequency. They must adjust, drop down to a lower frequency where they're comfortable. So what else could I say about it? I just think I have some notes right here. That's why I'm looking over here. But let me see if there was anything else. One other thing was she had 2 awakenings, and this was in 2014. She had an awakening, you could say, of the mind, of the universal mind or consciousness, which is considered the standard non-dual awakening. But then several months later, in 2014, she had a second awakening, which totally took her by surprise, and that was the dropping into the heart, dropping into love, basically boundless, unlimited love. And she talks candidly about both these awakenings. These were spontaneous, they were not anticipated. Yet she also talks about her teenage years and her childhood, where she would go into deep sleep and be awake. So this is sometimes called sleep paralysis, but if you're at all familiar with traditional Advaita Vedanta, to be awake in deep sleep is kind of considered the gold standard. So she was doing this when she was a teenager, but she didn't know what it meant because she didn't have a context, because her parents aren't spiritual and her whole culture wasn't spiritual. Anyway, I just want to tell you, it's a fascinating book. It's a brilliant book. It's an original book. It's an emotional book. She has just exposed and become vulnerable and told the truth and is being naked in a way that very few people could ever do. She's a true warrior, but she's a love warrior. That's the thing. She really, really, really cares about the students and just about everybody. And that is why she wrote this book, okay? She really wants to reach out. She really wants people to be authentic. She really wants people to wake up, and she really wants people to understand, what does it mean to awaken? What are the implications? What are the realities of life after awakening? Very few people have talked about it. Adyashanti has said it's very destructive. He's famous for a quote on that. Well, she's going to fill in the blanks for you. It's the most honest spiritual autobiography, non-duality book known to mankind, in my opinion. Okay, I didn't say I was objective, but that's what I really think. I really think it's incredible. And yes, I have read it several times myself. Okay, take care. Much love. This is Ramaji. Please buy Ananda's book, read it, and review it on Amazon.com. Thank you.